What's good, YouTube? Today we're making a valet tray or a catch-all or a dice tray, depending on what you want to do with it. It's just a handy little tray that you can kind of store your everyday objects in by the front door, like the keys or wallet or headphones, or anything by your bed that you might need, or like you could roll dice in it if you're playing a tabletop RPG. Yeah, let's get right into it. Naturally, the first thing we need to do is cut out our leather. So here I am just sizing it up next to my cutting dies to make sure that I get enough for the project. This is my clicker press and it's used for cutting out my pre-prepared dies. These are helpful because it means every time I go to make a piece, it always comes out the exact same. The first thing to do after cutting out the pieces is to sand the edges. I start off at 180 grit and work my way up to 1000. This is important because it gives the edges a nice smooth finish and it gives it a much more professional and finished look. When the sanding is finished, it leaves the edges with a bit of a raised edge. So I'll start to bevel the edges with my appropriately named edge beveler to round the corners and make it so when I start to address the edges with tokonol and other burnishing products, we get a nice smooth finish. I've just applied the tokonol, which is a burnishing gum which gets deep into the leather fibers to help stick them down, and now I'm applying it properly with the wood slicker. This helps to just lay the fibers down flat and uniformly to create a nice, soft, rounded, and glassy finish. Once I'm satisfied with the results of the wood slicker, I take a canvas cloth to the edges as well. I find this gives a nicer shine than I would typically get if I just used the wood slicker alone. This is an optional final step to the edge finishing known as hot stuffing, or finishing inside. This is where you heat up some wax and melt it into the leather fibers. This acts as a final sealant or glue to really finish off the leather and to make sure that nothing can get in there and you'll get a nice glassy finish. Now I'm preparing to join the two pieces together. This piece acts as a reinforcement to the main body so that after sewing and riveting it will still maintain its shape. It also gives a nicer finish than if I was to just leave the flesh alone. This is my leather roller, and it's used to make sure there are no little lumps or air bubbles between and to make sure that the entire piece is in perfect contact. I'm just taking the canvas cloth to the edges again now after some time has passed to make sure that the wax that is solidified has a chance to melt properly in. By adding a bit of friction to it, the wax will start to heat up again, and then it will get deeper into the fibers and really finish everything off. As with all of my projects, I'm using a traditional saddle stitch. This is the strongest hand stitch that you can do, and nothing will maintain the longevity of a piece better than this type of stitch. When the stitching is done, the ends are trimmed off and then melted with a lighter. This is to prevent them from unraveling and coming apart in the future. I also tamp it down with a hammer to give a nice flat, even stitch across the entire surface, but I've chosen to omit the clips of that here. To secure the corners, I'm using double capped rivets. These are 6mm in length as the leather I'm using is 2mm thick. You also have the option to use snaps if you would prefer to be able to store the tray flat when not in use. After setting the rivets, the project is complete. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and please consider liking and subscribing to stay updated with the channel. If you are interested in purchasing one of these, they can be found in my Etsy store, which is linked in the description. Until next time. Thank you.